Hey everybody, I'm Jordan with PDQ.com. Today I brought in just the who's who of PDQ nerds to talk about the new product. I have been ducking this question for a long time, and I'm looking forward to moving past this so we can find a new area I can't answer and I can duck the question. But we'll do this, we're talking about the new product that has the agent and everything that's involved in it. And the favorite part about this webcast is I've done the introduction, I guess, nerds. Let's go over the product.
Yeah, we'll pick it up. So with me today we have Ryan from our engineering team, and then we have Owen over here who is on our product team. So we're hoping to answer a lot of your questions today about the new product. There's a lot to go over, but before we kind of like dig in and start going over the details, just a quick call out to everyone who's really contributed and helped us with this product. We've done, we've seen it on Reddit. We've surveyed everyone a million times, and I think people are probably really tired of seeing those surveys around, what are you looking for next in the product? And we've definitely heard you when it comes to, we want an agent. Now, we've spent a lot of time as we're kind of building out this product, and we're happy to share it with you today. Owen's going to walk you through an actual demonstration of the product, which is going to be really good. And then Ryan's here to answer technical questions. So the kind of format for what we're going to do is we're going to introduce you to the product, answer some of the questions that have already been asked, and then open it up to just general questions that we're gonna answer for you here today. I think it's probably worth noting we don't know everything yet about the product. It's still a work in progress, but there's a lot in it today that we want to share with you and kind of show it to you. So we're gonna jump in. The very first thing to share with you is that we have named the product. So it's no longer the agent product or the unknown product or anything like that. The name of the product is PDQ Connect. PDQ Connect, we chose a lot based on a lot of feedback from our customers, frankly, but it was also chosen because we want to help our customers connect to their devices no matter where they are. And that's kind of what we're trying to do here. And so as kind of walk through the product today, just keep in mind, it is an agent product, and Owen's going to kind of walk you through it and kind of show you how it works. So again, we're going to kind of do an overview of this agent product and then kind of go from there.
Yep. So to go into more detail on what PDQ Connect actually is, it is a new agent-based product. It's targeted at managing your remote Windows devices. So to unpack that a little bit, when we say new, it is a standalone product. It is not going to be an agent for deploy and inventory. It is going to be completely separate. And it is also agent-based. So that means that once you get that agent installed, no matter where that device is, as long as it can connect to the internet, you will be able to manage it. You'll access the product by logging into a browser, and everything will be stored in the cloud. And as we're building this product, know that it's going to be directly inspired by Deploy and Inventory. Deploy and Inventory are great products. They're well loved for a reason. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel here. PDQ Connect is going to take a lot of inspiration from everything that Deploy and Inventory do well. So that means both in terms of functionality, specific features that are available, but also the look and feel of the app as well. So I'm going to go into more depth about what you can kind of expect from PDQ Connect, and then also how we're thinking about building the product as well.
Yeah, we're going to get into it a little bit more here in just a second, but just to kind of preemptively answer the questions I'm already seeing here. This is not a replacement for Deploy and Inventory. In fact, we'll talk a little bit more in a second here around how we're investing in both products kind of in parallel. But this is a standalone product, to Owen's point. It's a different product specifically designed to address the need for an agent.
Yeah, if we are going away, Randall requests that you let him know first.
Yes.
That's the project manager.
We'll let you know, Randall. But to be very clear, we really love Deploy and Inventory. They're great products, and we're actually doubling down on our investment there. So we're not walking away from Deploy and Inventory. They're phenomenal products, and we're going to make them better.
Yeah, and to get into more detail about some of the specific things we want to enable system administrators to do. So on the screen here, you can see a UI. Know that this is not final UI, but some of the things we want to allow you to do is the same way in inventory right now, you can collect a ton of information both out of the box with our default scanners, but also through your custom created scanners. We're going to support that same sort of functionality in Connect. And then once you have all of that information available to you, we're also going to allow you to target those devices. So in inventory, that's collections. We're going to look for something very similar in PDQ Connect. So you'll be able to say, no matter this arbitrary criteria, whether it's software installed or maybe it's certain hardware specs, you can define your filters, you can save those filters, and then you can deploy packages to them. And when we talk about the deployment side of things, we're going to maintain that same premise of both package library packages and custom packages. So know that everything that you're doing today in PDQ Deploy, we're going to offer a very similar amount of functionality in the new product. So this means our full package library offering is going to be available in PDQ Connect, but we're also going to support the ability to create your own custom packages as well. So how you can go through the package today and create your own steps and kind of like queue things up, we're offering that same capability as well. Outside of just the pure like features and functionality, know that when we're building a lot of these things, we are, again, directly inspired by Deploy and Inventory. We've been doing a ton of interviews over these past few months. I expect that probably some people in this webcast audience we've literally talked to over the past few weeks. And there are very consistent themes about what our customers said about why they like our products. And we want to make sure that PDQ Connect hits on those same themes. So that means, first, we want it to be simple. When you log into PDQ Connect, you should be able to figure out how it works and start using it within minutes with no training required. You don't need to bring in external trainers. You don't need to go deep on documentation. It should be intuitive. It should be easy to understand. We also want it to be flexible. We can't possibly predict your environment, the problems you're running into, specific requirements you have. So rather than trying to create a one-size-fits-all solution, we want to give you flexible tools that allow you to create the solution that's perfect for you. So that means customizing packages, customizing scanners, customizing collections or saved filters. Basically, the tools that enable you to create the solutions that you need versus us trying to shove everything into a single one-size-fits-all solution. We also know speed is really important to our customers. You know, if a deployment only takes a few minutes when you do it locally, we want a very similar speed when you deploy something through PDQ Connect. We don't want things to take days and days and days before you ever see any update on whether a software installed or whether a script ran. We also want real-time visibility into what's going on in your environment. So if you deploy a package, we don't want it to just come back a couple of days later with a failure message and that's the first time you're seeing it. You should see it much faster than that. You should also see it actually execute in real time. And then lastly, we know that inventory provides a ton of information out of the box. And we know that information is highly valued by our customers. So we want PDQ Connect to be similarly very informative, but also very actionable, meaning like when you're looking through your list of device information, this is all information relevant to you, and it helps you get your job done and your task complete. So when we talk about when will PDQ Connect actually be available, starting next week, there are going to be a private alpha is going to start. And so that means a very, very small subset of testers will actually be in the product testing it. So we're not going to demo it today because we want to go through that alpha process and see what they find first. But know that literally as of Monday, we are going to have people in the product using it, testing it, giving us feedback. Once we go through the alpha stage, we are going to progress to a public beta. I think most of you have probably seen or maybe even signed up for the beta, but that's coming later this summer. And that's where we're kind of opening it up for the public PDQ community to start being involved with the testing process. And then in terms of general availability, we're targeting that for later this year. You'll see maybe on the slide here that there is an asterisk. The asterisk is not about the availability of the product itself, but just what to expect. So when we say general availability, it will be available for any user, but it is not going to be as feature-rich as Deploy and Inventory on day one.
So I guess overall, the goal is to get the product where it has useful functionality as soon as possible,
Yep.
and then it's going to be built on from there. So.
Exactly. We know that managing remote devices is a pretty severe pain point. And so we want to give something that can start helping solve that pain as soon as possible. It is not going to be the full solution that we plan, but we think it can provide a lot of value even on day one. And just know that there's going to be even more coming after that. And eventually the end goal is that anything that you can do in Deploy and Inventory, one day you're going to be able to do that with PDQ Connect on all of your remote devices. It's not day one, but that is the goal. So to talk about our beta program a little bit in more detail. So again, it is starting soon. Expect that invites will be starting sometime in the next few months. It is going to be a phased approach. So we're not sending an invite to every single person who signed up on day one. What we're really looking for is what are the features that we have available at that point in time? And then what are people's like product use cases? So if you're heavily using our package library, we might be able to get you into the program earlier because that's going to be something that's available earlier. If you have a more complex use case, it may make sense for you to join the program a little later when our features can actually help solve your problems. And do understand that this is a beta. There's going to be features that are unavailable, and frankly, you're going to find bugs. So please expect that this is not the finished, polished product. But again, we want to get our community involved with testing the product, start providing value back, and doing that as soon as possible.
So if in the beta no bugs are found, please let you know so you can use that for negotiation. In
Yeah,
the future.
I think I get a massive raise if that happens, and our engineering team.
I think that sounds like a great idea.
And then again, if you have not actually signed up for the beta yet, it's just pdq.com/beta. It's a very quick form you fill out. The information there helps us understand information about your environment and also how you use our current products so we can kind of figure out where you fit into the beta program. So from here, I'm going to transition to Ryan, who's going to talk about some of how we're actually keeping PDQ Connect secure.
Yeah, so one of the things we wanted to emphasize as we're introducing an agent solution is that we understand that security is a very, very important part. It's an essential part of anything, even with this much power, right? So the first part about it is we're taking security very seriously, and that starts with very early on in the process of securing the agent. And so the installers are secured with a secure provisioning token that lets them be installed safely. It protects that your organization from being getting devices you didn't expect. In a cloud environment, the cloud has all devices, so you only want to make sure that you're protected and isolated against the rest of the internet. The other thing is that we're using standard encryption across the board to ensure that there's nothing, no observability that's going to be able to compromise your systems. And ultimately, that's the thing that we want to make sure that our users are comfortable with what we're putting out there. And so we'll be releasing security-related information, especially as we go along, to let people know, like, hey, this is our security position. This is where we're at. Also important to know, I put it on the slide there, we want to let everyone know that the devices themselves are actually secured with per-device keys. So those signing keys prevent any other device from trying to masquerade as another device. And ultimately, we just want to reiterate, this is something we take very, very seriously, and we're gonna work with you to make sure that everyone feels comfortable, in an agent-based solution.
Awesome. So I think from there, we're going to transition into some of the questions that we're anticipating you might want to know the answers to. And so the first thing I'm going to hit on is PDQ Connect going to have full feature parity with deploy and inventory? Again, the goal here is one day, yes, but that is not going to be day one. It will take time to reach feature parity. Deploy and inventory have been around for many years. It's just going to take time to catch up, but that is the goal. So,
I don't remember what the next question is here. Okay, here we go. So, will PDQ Connect integrate with other PDQ products? So we've seen that already in the chat here quite a bit. So, is it going to integrate with deploy and inventory? Is it going to integrate with simple MDM and smart deploy? That is absolutely our plan. So we intend to do integrations where they make sense. On day one, that won't be there. So you're not going to be able to see your devices that are in deploy and inventory inside of PDQ Connect. But we are looking for opportunities to make really meaningful integrations. But again, right now we're not focused on that.
So day one, the package library will work across all the products.
Yeah, that's a good clarification. Yeah, so the package library is a shared resource, and we will have the package library, and you'll have a lot of very similar functionality. But in terms of seeing the devices between the two products in each other's product, that won't be there. All right, this is a question I think that's come up a handful of times here as well. What will PDQ Connect cost? So I think the first thing to note is with an online product that's hosted, we do have incurred expenses here that are a little bit higher than what it is today with PDQ deploying inventory. So the costing structure is going to be a little bit different. We are going to have it on a per device. Now, between us friends here, we are looking at being as aggressive there as we can in terms of it not being an expensive per device offering, but it is going to be billed on a per device basis. It's not going to be on a per admin basis. And again, a lot of it has to do with the additional operational costs of having an online product. In terms of, I know that there's been some questions about, is it included in my license or is it not included in my license today? We're working through all those details right now, but we don't have like total clarity yet on how the exact pricing structure will work. All right, how will PDQ Connect be different from past agent remote efforts? So if we kind of go back in time, we've maybe had some false starts when it comes to the agent.
I can say the initial answer is it'll work.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely the goal, right? We want to make sure that when we launch this, like it's going to fulfill the promise that it has, right? We want to make it really easy, really simple, and fast when it comes to managing your remote devices. Like that is like our focus. And so we are taking a little bit of time to make sure that we get it right? Security is like a very fundamental concept. We're focused a lot on security. We don't want any problems there. We're focused a lot on usability, making sure it's very usable, and also just like really dang fast. Like that's what we want to do. And so we're taking our time. We're not going to rush it out. We know everyone needs it really badly, but like we want to make sure that it's gonna be an amazing experience when it comes out.
So one thing I want to point out, and I'm sorry I've missed his name at this point, but someone brought up that they wanted basically the existing product with the agent. And the reason that doesn't work is Deploy and Inventory were built to be agentless. That was the appeal when we started out, is agent didn't, it was one of the first things that didn't require an agent. But when the landscape changed and agent became more and more necessary, our product just wasn't built for it. And we tried to shoehorn it in, it didn't work, which is why we do the new route of we need something new, we just need the same features, but it's not going to work in the existing product as it was designed to work without it.
Yeah, the architecture of deploying inventory, like you said, Jordan, like we've tried to do the agent before, and we don't want to keep doing that and keep failing. And we feel very confident that we'll be a lot more successful in building an agent product if it's web based.
Yeah, and just to expand a little more, like we have to think about it at that foundational level where deploy and inventory foundationally are not built for remote. PDQ Connect from day one, the mission was manage remote devices. So that is what the focus is, and that's why it's going to differentiate between maybe what we've done in the past where we tried to make something that wasn't intended for remote work. This is remote focused from day one.
All right. So I know that this question has been asked before, and I think we kind of hinted at it earlier. We're not ending support for deploying inventory. They are phenomenal products. They solve significant problems for all of you. So like there's no plans, and we're not defunding it or anything like that. Like I mentioned earlier, we have dedicated engineering teams that are focused on both of the products, and obviously like Simple MDM and Smart Deploy as well. So there's no plans to discontinue anything. In fact, we're actually like kind of restarting the innovation machine with deploying inventory. There's a lot that's coming, but we just had a release last night. There's a lot of new capabilities that are coming up around like some of the top requested features. So we're excited to share more about that roadmap coming up here in the next handful of webcasts.
Sounds like we need Randall and his team of nerds in the future.
Yeah, I saw Randall on the webcast today. He's probably not super excited, but I think we're going to have him come in the coming session and kind of walk through like what it is we're doing in deploying inventory and really where we're focused moving forward.
So yeah, we don't have any timetable for that, but I've seen some of the things they have on the roadmap, and we are hitting a lot of the most requested things that we can't hit. Not agent, obviously, but there are things that are requested often that are on the roadmap. I'm actually excited to see the new changes in the deployed inventory.
Yeah, more to come on that. But yeah, there's a lot of exciting things that we're doing there. I think everyone's gonna love it.
All right.
Yeah, I think that covered all the questions that we had pre-planned.
Yeah,
So
I've been watching the chat. You guys have a lot to go.
Time for the hard questions.
now we get the unplanned questions.
I'm going to jump to the front of the line. Is this going to have an API?
Yeah, that is a great question. In fact, actually, that was one of the questions I saw asked here. The answer is absolutely. So we know that there's been like some frustration with deploying inventory on like how extensible it is or how integratable it is. And we also know that like, we're all a creative bunch. Like there's a lot you can do with a product if you have an API. And so we will have an API. On day one, you're not going to see that. But behind the scenes, we're making all the plumbing so that we'll have that available.
Now I'll get out of the way and let the customer questions come on through.
Yeah, a lot of good questions in there.
All right. Are you guys ready to start the avalanche of questions? Here
Yeah,
we go.
let's do
Guys,
it.
how's the scan and deploy speed performance of web-based PDQ versus actual on-prem PDQ? Thanks, FedA.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take a shot at this question, and then Ryan, maybe you have some additional details you can put in there. So speed is central to what we're trying to do, right? We're not going to lose the pretty dang quick view of the world here, and so like we know like when you press the button, you want it to actually happen. We don't want to queue it up and have it happen in a couple of days or anything like that. And so we are benchmarking the product and making sure that it's going to be fast. I don't know if there's any other detail there. But
I mean, that's the basics of it. I mean, the architecture is designed to be able to have like dynamic check-in intervals for devices. So that could mean anywhere from like low minutes to seconds, and obviously we're targeting as low as possible. But there are a lot of considerations for that. But we want this to feel like you can use the product and feel like you're getting like it's interactive and not just like writing a letter asking for devices to like eventually get updated. So.
Yeah, and just I guess I'll be the third echo of this, but like we know when we sit down with our customers and we ask, why did you choose PDQ Deploy and inventory? One of the things that's often, like almost always referenced is it's fast, it's instant, and when I use a competing product, it's not. So we know that's a differentiator and that's valuable to our customers, and we will focus on that for PDQ Connect to maintain that similar feeling of speed.
Is the frequency of the agent check-in something that can be customized because not everyone's going to have the same needs, or is it we're just going to try to find optimized for our product?
On day one, we'll kind of figure out what the ideal check-in cadence. Down the road, we'll figure out if there's a better way to handle that based on the environment.
All right, next question.
Hey guys, will Cloud PDQ and old school on-prem PDQ be able to sync with each other? Thanks, ZT.
I like that we're calling it old school PDQ. So I mean, the answer right now is no. So again, like the devices, you're not going to see them cross pollinate between the products unless a application or a device with PDQ Connect goes on your network, then you might see it. But there isn't currently plans, at least in the short term, to kind of cross pollinate them.
Yeah, day one, there won't be that integration. We are aware that it will be a pain to maintain duplicate sets of configurations in Connect. And I've also heard PDQ Classic, which I like is another term. However we want to refer to it. We are aware that's a pain, and so it's something that we'll be mindful of and think of as we move forward in our roadmap.
All right, next one on deck. Guys, is there a way to transfer our whole PDQ repository to the cloud version of PDQ Deploy to have the transition be as seamless as possible? Kyle.
I'll answer this one. So that's kind of like, I guess, to hit on what I just mentioned. Day one, I don't think so. But we are, again, aware that it will be painful if you have to maintain dual configurations. And so we're going to be thinking about how can we make that an easier process. Are there easy solutions we can find to really streamline that and not create that duplicate workload?
Yeah, I think it's a pretty interesting to know. Like for some customers, it might make sense to move completely to PDQ Connect. For other customers, it might make sense to stay on deploying inventory. Right, we're going to be innovating in both, and in some instances, it may make sense to use both. It's going to kind of depend, and we'll help provide some guidance around our recommendations on that as we get a little bit closer to general availability.
It's also not very hard to make a custom package that just deploys the agent, but we don't know what we're going to recommend to customers yet. So
yeah, that's true.
All right, gentlemen, will PDQ be hosted on the internet, or can we host the product? FedA.
Yeah, I'll take that question. It will be hosted on the internet, and there will not be an option, at least right now, to host it yourself. So it is a web-based product that will be on a URL that we provide, and you'll log in, you'll authenticate, through multi-factor authentication. So it's a very secure application, but it is not going to be something you can host yourself.
And next question up, how will we be able to manage the repository?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I'm going to take repository as the package library or your custom packages. So there will be the ability to create custom packages just like you have in deploying inventory. So that's not going to go away. We'll have the package library available, right, with like Chrome and Firefox and all that goodness. We're still working through exactly how the hosting will work. But from a pricing perspective, like we're not planning, at least right now, and we're going to push hard for this. Like we're not going to penalize you for like having big files or anything like that. We're focused on like, let's get these packages on these machines. And so there will be a repository where you can store files. Exactly where that's going to live right now, we're still figuring that out.
Right, because I might be stepping on questions here, but someone said like they do AutoCAD, which is a massive file. So they're worried about space if it's all hosted here. But you said as of now, we're not going to limit anything like that?
Yeah, we're still looking at options. Like AutoCAD is a giant file, right? We got to be mindful of the size of the files that we're distributing, but there isn't going to be any type of like file size cap or anything like that. Like if you want to put AutoCAD, great, put AutoCAD. Like that's not a problem for us. So we're looking at and trying to understand like exactly how the storage will work. We may offer an option to allow you to store files yourself, but we're also looking at, and the most likely thing will be that we'll store the files for you. More to come on that though. So.
Next question comes from Tim M. Any new or different features with Connect than what Deploy and Inventory have other than the agent?
Oh, that's a great question. You want me to take that, Owen? You want to take that?
I can, I'll take it. So initially, the focus is kind of just focusing on those core jobs that Deploy and Inventory already do. So that means deploying packages, scanning computers, creating the equivalent of collections, things like that. So initial focus will probably be a lot of the same that you can do in Deploy and Inventory. I should probably mention that there may be tweaks in terms of workflows and things like that. So if we can find a better way to solve the same problem, we may opt for that better way than just a pure carbon copy. But again, we are focused on repeating the same jobs as Deploy and Inventory. On the other side of that, this is a fresh code base that gives us a lot more agility in terms of our development velocity and things that we can introduce down the road. So don't think of it as it's just only going to be Deploy and Inventory and that's it. As we see opportunities to solve new problems, this new code base gives us that opportunity to kind of release those new features and new solutions fairly quickly.
Yeah, the product engineering team is probably going to hate me for saying this, but like you think about the addition of Smart Deploy and Simple MDM, and we're looking for opportunities to kind of integrate them all together in a meaningful way. And so PDQ Connect may be that central pane of glass that kind of helps you manage your full device lifecycle across platform. But again, on day one, like we're really focused on deploying inventory functionality with an agent that's a web-based product.
I don't think you understand how dangerous something broad like that is for future webcasts.
Yeah, I think it's going to be brought up on a routine basis now. You're welcome.
Gentlemen, will I be able to use the product with my current PDQ Enterprise license? I just renewed it. Fide A.
Yeah, it's a great question. Again, we're still working through exactly what the pricing looks like. So I don't have a straight answer for you right now. That's something that we'll come back to when we get a little bit closer. While we're going through the alpha and the beta, there's no charge or anything like that for experimenting with the product and providing feedback. But exactly how the licensing will work, we're still working on that detail.
Next question from Marcel L. Will there be any interaction between Inventory, Deploy, and Connect?
Yeah, great question. I think we've kind of covered this a little bit, but just to kind of reemphasize it at this point, short answer is not on the first version. And again, we're looking for opportunities to integrate, but you won't see like a ton of integration there.
So just for the way that I think currently, right now, if you have the agent on your deployed inventory, you can use the command line to kick off different packages. So you could build a little bit on your own on that one, but it's all going to be customized. That's just my first thought when I saw that is I would be building that right away where I could from one thing use deployed inventory without having to necessarily log in.
Sure. Yeah, you can absolutely do that, yeah.
That's not supporting the code base, but I think it's feasible to do based on what you've told me so far, and I'm excited to mess with it.
Yeah.
And Alexander N. would like to know storage costs for custom packages. I have 6 gigabyte application installers, CAD software.
Yeah, so I think we touched on this as well, but again, like we're not we're not trying to like profit by storing stuff. Like we don't have any desire like make money by being another storage provider. And so right now the approach is that you won't have to. There's no charge for storage of custom packages and things like that. That may change, but again, right now, like that's the approach we're taking, and we're going to try really hard to stick with that.
All right, we have a mixed environment of off and on-prem. Should we look at sunsetting DNI and move to Connect exclusively? Wayne,
Yeah, I mean, as PDQ Connect develops more, right, and as we kind of hit our stride in building new functionality, you may want to migrate. You might not, right? There's going to be some things to consider in terms of price and cost as well associated with that. We'll have more guidance as we get a little bit closer, but again, for some customers, it might make sense to move fully over. For others, you might want a hybrid environment, and that's fine. We're going to support both. We're going to innovate on both.
And if you're using some of the features that won't be available on day one, you wouldn't want to be trying to plan that move for like your first day on the Connect product.
Yeah, that's very true.
All right, we have a few questions left. We'll just speed round these things. What will be the port requirements needing to be open and available, and will they be customizable? Tim M.
I can maybe do this one. Sounds like sounds like a me thing. So there's no inbound traffic to your device. So this is all outbound from the agent to our servers. What that ultimately means is there's no inbound stuff that you're going to have to worry about, like figuring out how to route to devices. There is outbound traffic, and those are using standard HTTP ports. So 443. Obviously, there's also like the agents will be downloading packages from package repository, off the internet. So they have to be able to download those too. But just again, standard web ports generally.
Next question comes from Marcel L. Are there plans for a plug-in system allowing community to expand features?
Yeah, I can touch on this. So I think that, so when we talked about like the API offering, again, day one, the API won't be there, but that is something that we're mindful of because we understand that our customers are really, really creative and they're really good problem solvers. And so if we can give them even more flexibility in terms of an API to define their own solutions, I think there's some value in that. So we don't have a plan for it on day one, but whenever we do have the API being available, I think that's where you'll see maybe some of those community features and the plugin system around it.
Hey guys, if this is cloud-based, will you support SAML for integration with third-party IDPs for console access? Craig?
I don't know what we're going to support on the plan. There's no immediate plans for that, but that I'm aware of. But something we'll probably look at some point.
All right, next question comes from Josh W. Where will the files for custom packages be stored? Sorry if I missed it.
Yeah, still working through that. You may have the option to self-store, and then we'll have an option to store that where PDQ will store the files for you.
Does this mean there will never be an agent integrated directly into DNI? Josh H.
I wouldn't say never, but that's not a big focus for us. Like we've said, we've tried that before. It's not architected for it. And so we are focused on building the agent for the web-based solution, not for deploying inventory.
Never is a strong word, but there's no plans.
Yeah.
And next question from O. Due to CMMC NIST requirements of my company, would we be able to self-host PDQ Connect on our own cloud instance?
I don't know the answer to that yet. Again, like we're not currently thinking through. We're not currently thinking about self-hosting it. Now, will there be an option to be on like your own server that we maintain? Maybe down the road, but that's not a focus for us right now.
It's for a lot of these, I know we're given that we're not sure yet. That's what the beta is. We're looking for a lot of feedback, and I think we'll try to meet whatever the greatest customer demand is, make sure everyone gets to the can.
Yeah, and right now, that's one of those scenarios that is definitely best served by deploying inventory. Like we're not, like, especially on day one, if you need to be fully on-prem and air-gapped, like just deploying inventory would be your solution there.
Yeah, and I think that's important to highlight that one of the goals of the beta program and why we want to start that before we're really rich with features is we want that customer feedback about what are the most important things, what are the most important problems to solve, and how should that impact our roadmap for developing the product. So I know we're giving a lot of, we don't know yet, but that's what we hope to learn in this beta stage. So.
All right, we have about 4 more questions. Guys, any idea what the internet bandwidth requirements will be for just one device or for a whole site? Hundreds of devices, for example, to support PDQ Connect. H.
I can give the basic version of this, which is that we don't entirely have a full profile of what that's going to look like. Again, there's outbound traffic from the agent to the servers at pretty frequent intervals. That cost is pretty low. Those are small packet sizes. But the bigger stuff will come from your package usage. So if you have some big packages and you're doing frequent deployments, those are going to be what chews up most of that bandwidth cost. So we don't have a profile that we can share of average usage on Connect yet, but hopefully we'll have that at some point.
Yeah, that's one of the big reasons why we're doing the alpha and then a beta to kind of help provide that information before you decide to use the product.
Next question. Guys, can you scan devices for inventory data with Connect?
Easy answer, yes. Yep. So.
It's not yet as robust as inventory, but
Yeah.
it's we have the test case where it grabs some default information, and we're looking to expand that out to.
Yeah, and to talk about the plans there for scanning. So similar to inventory, we'll have a set of scanned information that's available out of the box for every single device. And then longer term, we know that we can't predict every piece of information you need. So we're also planning for the ability to customize a scanner to find the specific information that you'll need.
Now, one thing that maybe we haven't emphasized enough here is that PDQ Connect will be deploying inventory combined as a single product online. And so a lot of it's not just going to be one of the products online, it's both just as a single integrated application. So you're going to have inventory, you're going to have deploy as one product online.
And our next question from Tim M. What's the expected cost for Connect, or will it be included with current enterprise licensing?
Still working through the details on that. So we'll have more information as we get a little bit closer.
And our final question of the day, given that PDQ recently acquired Simple MDM, will Connect support Mac OS? Mark D.
It's a good question. I think this goes back to Jordan's earlier comments on anything we say here, everyone's going to be excited for and asking updates on. The answer is, long term, yes, we do intend to have a product that you can manage multiple devices on multiple operating systems. On day one, the answer is no. So it is going to be Windows based, just like deploying inventory in the initial release.
And just for some development information, we do actually have some people running it for testing purposes, but obviously the functionality is pretty limited. But the agent is capable of running on a Mac. It's just that there's a lot of work that goes into it besides just running.
As a product manager, I have to say, but not supported.
That's not supported at all. We're not handing that over to anybody, and that's.
All right. Well, I know everyone tuned in just to, watch me be handsome, but hopefully you stayed to learn some information. I don't want to bring a team of nerds and have people just tune it out. I know I'm pretty, but hopefully this gives everyone at least some good insight into everything that's coming down the pipeline. A lot of it's still up in the air, but if you want to have your voice heard and drive some of the direction, sign up for the beta and get it in as soon as you can. For PDQ.com, I'm Jordan.
Thanks for joining us this afternoon, this morning, or wherever time it may be, wherever you're at. Congratulations to Mark D. and Kyle S., winners of PDQ swag. Send us your info at webcast@pdq.com. If you like what you've seen today, do us a big favor. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Have a fantastic week, and we'll see you back here next time.